Hi, I'm Maxxie. Welcome to my channel. I go to the gym and I love cooking. Sometimes I do low carb, sometimes I do low fat, but I always try to get as ripped as I can. Speaking of getting ripped or just burning fat, we all know the general rules: eating less and exercise more. But for many people, it just doesn't seem like the case. You've been eating less, you've been exercising more, but still you can't burn much fat. And if that's the problem you are facing, well, there may be something wrong with when you exercise and when you eat, and this video may help you. Well, for starters, eating less and exercising more is always the right way. It's just that if you get the timing wrong, you may not be burning fat, you are burning something else. And in this video, I'm gonna explain what that is and how it worked for me. Okay, I'm gonna break this video into these following parts. Part 1, I'm gonna explain a core concept of burning fat, your fasting period. Part 2, I'm gonna explain exercising before a meal or after a meal, which one burns fat better. And part 3, I'm gonna talk about can you burn fat while still building muscle? Well, this part is controversial. I'm just talking about my experience. At least this is what worked for me. And the last part, I'm gonna share my schedule of a day. When do I eat? When do I exercise? And why is that helping me get ripped? Okay, now let's get started. Part 1. Here I'm gonna introduce the several core concepts you need to know if you want to burn fat effectively. First, if you want to burn fat, you need to know where does fat come from. Not all the calories we eat become fat. Actually, we have two ways to store extra energy. The first one is glycogen, the second one is fat. Glycogen is the more direct energy source that our body uses, and its storage is limited, while fat is always treated as the backup energy source. Your storing capacity for fat is almost infinite, so theoretically we can get infinitely obese. And your body switches from using these two kinds of energy source in a day constantly. And the signal for it to switch is your insulin level. When your insulin level is high, it mainly uses glycogen. Only when your insulin level is low, your body can burn fat effectively. Well then, when will the level of insulin become low and when will it become high? Unfortunately, whenever you eat something with a considerable amount of calories, your insulin goes high, be it carbs, fat, or protein. Even when I just drink a cup of pure protein shake, which is considered totally healthy and weight-friendly, still my level of insulin goes high. And the only natural way for your insulin level to go down is to stop eating. Okay, that brings us to part 2, exercising before a meal or after a meal, which burns fat better. And given what we've talked about in part 1, I don't think it's a hard question to answer. If your goal of your working out is burning fat, then of course, exercising after a meal is a waste of time. Because you are exercising when your insulin is high, you can't burn much fat no matter how hard you work out. On the other hand, exercising before a meal is the right choice because your insulin level is low. The only downside of exercising before a meal in this situation is that you may not feel very energized when you work out. So I won't recommend you do some very intense exercise. But the truth is, intense exercise never guarantees the result. Some mild exercise actually burns fat very well, like walking. That's what I do. When I want to burn fat in a short time, all the cardio I do is just walk a little bit faster on the treadmill with the slope. So that's the point. If you want to burn fat, schedule your cardio before a meal. And that is why many people do cardios in the morning without having a breakfast, because every night's sleep is a natural long fasting period. Your insulin level is very low when you get up. And here brings us to another question. A lot of people ask me whether it is necessary to drink protein shake after your workout. Well, it's not. And sometimes it even sabotages your workout if what you want is to burn fat. Because protein shake is high in calories, though it's clean calories, but still it raises your insulin level and stops you from burning fat. And even if what you want is to build muscles, you don't need to drink protein shakes right after your workout. Because what you need is a constant high level of protein, not just one dose of protein after your workout. The growth of your muscles is a gradual process. It happens gradually in a long period. So you can have your protein shake at breakfast, at lunch, or even before you go to sleep, or right after your workout. Any time in the day works. Now, the third part. Can you burn fat while still building muscles? Well, my answer is always yes, and that's what I have been doing. Before I moved to London from China 1 week earlier, I have been cutting, and my body fat rate was reducing, but I wasn't losing any weight, which means I was building muscle at the same time. Actually, I don't believe burning fat and building muscles contradict with each other, because when you want to build muscles, what you need is constant weightlifting and constant high protein level. And when you want to burn fat, what you need is to eat clean and exercise at the right time. So we can totally schedule these two things together. And actually, if you do these two things together, they can even amplify each other. When you do cardios after your weightlifting, the result of the cardios get better. You burn fat more effectively. And that's what I do when I burn fat. When I go to the gym, I do the weightlifting first, and then I go on the treadmill to walk for 1 hour. Okay, now the final part, my schedule. Actually, this is not my current schedule. This is my schedule before I came to London. Before I came here, I was back home in China, focusing on burning fat. But now I'm here busy studying for my master's degree, so things get a little different. Okay, when I was back home in China half a month earlier, I get up at 7:30 every morning and immediately goes to breakfast. Later, I do all the preparations of the morning and then go to the gym. When I get to the gym, it's usually 9:15 and I start my weightlifting workout. I usually do this for like 45 minutes, and after that, it's 1 hour of cardio on the treadmill, fast walk. After this, I leave the gym and usually go straight back home for lunch. I usually have lunch at 12 o'clock at noon. And after that, I usually don't eat anything until dinner at 6:30. But around 3 to 4 o'clock, usually I get very hungry or just so boring and want to eat something. At this point, I would make myself a unsweetened hot Americano or a glass of iced Diet Coke, both of which are nearly 0 calories, so they don't affect my insulin level. This whole fasting period is still intact. Then, after dinner and before I sleep, I will have my protein shake at 9:30. And after that, I don't eat anything until I go to sleep around 11 o'clock. And then it's a night of sleep, another long fasting period. So we can see I have 3 major fasting periods in the day. The first one is between breakfast and lunch is 4.5 hours. The second one between lunch and dinner is 6 hours. And the last and longest is at night, after protein shake and before the next day's breakfast, which is 9.5 hours. So we can see here sleeping is naturally a very good fasting period. So what does that tell us? If you eat clean and exercise constantly, you can actually sleep your fat away. Okay, so much of this episode. And that is how burning fat works for me. I hope it works for you too. So, if you like this video, don't forget to tap the like button and subscribe to my channel. And you can also follow me on Instagram, where I share my fitness progress and other things in my daily life. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.